Welcome back to another creepy missing persons video. On June 6, 2014, at around 8:30 p.m., German tourist Lars Mittank was being dropped off at Varna airport in Bulgaria by his tour guide. The two had just spent a week traveling around the country together, but now Lars's flight was delayed for hours, and he had time to kill, so his guide dropped him back off at the hotel they had been staying at earlier in their trip. While Lars's guide was driving him to the airport, he told police that Lars seemed totally fine. No mention of any problems or issues, even joked around. In fact, Lars was looking forward to going home. He'd been on vacation with his parents and friends, taking a break from his studies. And when he got home, he planned to meet up with a friend he hadn't seen in a while. But when Lars arrived back at the hotel, things started to go horribly wrong. He ran out of the car, ignoring his belongings, a phrase in German that translates to, "My God, I have to get away." That phrase is chilling enough, but what makes it even creepier is that Lars wasn't speaking to anyone. There was no one around. He was talking to himself. After telling this interloper to leave him alone, Lars went up to his room and didn't come back down. But within minutes, we see him on CCTV footage walking back down the stairs. He is frantically making his way downstairs, when suddenly, he stops dead in his tracks like he has seen something horrible. Lars looks around, eyes wide with fear, before running back upstairs. Lars's guide thought it was strange that he left without paying his bill, but he assumed that he would catch up with him later. Instead, the next morning, Lars didn't board his flight home to Berlin. At around 9 a.m., someone checked into the hotel room and asked the front desk where Lars was. They said that he didn't check out, but that his flight had left hours ago. This person told the front desk that he was Lars's father, and he was worried because his son had called or texted. When Lars's mom tried calling her son's cell phone, it went straight to voicemail. She was becoming increasingly worried. Why wouldn't he tell her that he wasn't coming home? Was he hurt? Had something happened to him? In an attempt to reach her son, she scrolled through his Facebook page, which is where she found the last message he'd ever posted. It simply said, "Run," along with a link to a Bulgarian song titled, "Help Me." This song is about a man who is being chased by three strangers. Even more eerie, the song was uploaded 6 days before Lars disappeared. At this point, his dad called the hotel and asked them to check the CCTV footage. After they reviewed the tape, they called Lars's dad and told him that their son had left the hotel at around 10 o'clock that night. It's just a few hours after their conversation with the hotel. His dad contacted local police, but since Lars was a foreign national, they refused to help him, saying that he needed to file a missing persons report instead. It took them 4 days, but eventually the police did open an investigation. They combed through every bit of CCTV footage they could find. On the day he vanished, they saw him enter the airport and then make his way to the duty-free shop. Here he bought a bottle of Jack Daniels and some Red Bull before boarding his flight. He was caught on camera drinking part of the whiskey and putting the rest in his bag. We then see him approach the security gate with his carry-on luggage. He sets his bag down and walks through the scanner. But when he tries to pick his bag back up, security guards tell him that he can't take the whiskey through. Tries to explain that he's only carrying it because his flight is delayed and he wants something to drink on the plane. But they refuse to budge. Lars says fine, drops his bag, and walks out of the airport. This is the last time anyone has ever seen him. Don't know why he changed his mind. But somehow Lars decided that he didn't want to fly home anymore. Instead, he picked up his bags and walked out of the airport. He told the guard that he wanted to look around the city. He was planning to catch a later flight, and he had plenty of time to spare. CCTV cameras follow Lars as he walks away from the airport and turns left onto a main road.
Ow.
This is where things start to get really weird. 3 minutes later, we see Lars on another CCTV camera, on the same road, but now he's walking in the opposite direction. He's headed back towards the airport, but he doesn't go inside. Instead, he walks past it and takes a dirt road off to the right. He is still carrying both of his bags, but he isn't walking with them. He's holding them awkwardly in front of him like he's bracing for something. It seems as if he might be heading back to the hotel, but after about 10 minutes, Lars disappears from the cameras. This is when he called his mom, and when she answered, all he said was, "I have to go." Before hanging up the phone, she called him back multiple times, but each time it went straight to voicemail. Police say that there are no records of Lars leaving the airport or even leaving Bulgaria. He never made it onto the plane. But how did he disappear? What happened to Lars Mittank? One of the most popular theories is that Lars was the victim of foul play. Perhaps when he was dropping his bag, someone slipped something into it or stole his wallet and phone, so that he wouldn't be able to pay for another ticket. He was then forced to flee the airport, and those responsible wiped the CCTV footage. But there's no evidence that anything was stolen or that he was kidnapped. No ransom demands were ever made, and no suspicious people were caught on camera interacting with Lars. Another theory is that Lars panicked when he realized that he couldn't bring the alcohol on the plane and drank too much of it before fleeing the airport. But it was a hot summer night, and he was wearing a heavy coat. So maybe he didn't die of alcohol poisoning, but rather became disoriented and dehydrated. However, there were no witnesses, and his body has never been found. It also doesn't explain why he acted so erratically when he was on CCTV, why he talked to himself, and why he suddenly broke down in tears. Maybe he suffered some sort of brain injury prior to his disappearance, such as a stroke or an aneurysm. This could explain his erratic behavior, but again, there is no evidence that he had any sort of medical condition. And that leaves us with one final theory. What if Lars was unkidnapped by traffickers who were going to sell him on the black market or force him into labor? These are the kind of crimes that go unsolved all the time. Lars didn't fit the profile of someone who was about to get on a plane and fly home to Germany. He was dressed like a bum, homeless, dirty, and unshaven. He was also carrying 2 large suitcases. This made him look suspicious, and therefore made him an easy target for traffickers. There was even speculation that the reason he drank so much alcohol before trying to flee the airport was that he was trying to bring down a massive amount of drugs with him. And when he was told that he couldn't bring the bottle of Jack Daniels onto the plane, he freaked out thinking that they were about to find the drugs. But again, there's no evidence to support this theory. When Lars's mom received the call from the hotel that her son hadn't left the premises, she immediately drove to Bulgaria. She's been searching for answers for the past 7 years, but unfortunately, Lars's case went cold long ago. His parents have refused to give up hope, but the longer he's gone without a trace, the harder it will be to find him. Do you think Lars was kidnapped, or do you think he had a psychotic episode? Let me know your thoughts below, and as always, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up button and share it with a friend. Also, be sure to subscribe to the channel so you're notified every time I upload a new video.